In the black hush of the reef, where sunlight forgets its own name by the time it reaches the sand, there lives a creature that never learned to be one thing. Sailors of old told stories of shapeshifters in the deep, spirits who wore the skins of other beasts to survive a world that offered no mercy to the weak. They were not wrong. They had simply never met the octopus that would come to be called the Mimic. It begins, as all things in the ocean begin, with stillness, a stretch of pale sand off the coast of Sulawesi, undisturbed, unremarkable, until a single mound trembles and two eyes rise from the grain like something remembering how to be born. This is Thalamus mimicus, discovered by science only in the final years of the 20th century, though it had been perfecting its art for eons before anyone thought to look. Unlike its cousins, who cloak themselves in reef and rock, the Mimic Octopus has chosen a stranger path. It does not merely hide from the world, it becomes other creatures entirely. And in doing so, it borrows their reputations, their venom, their teeth, without ever possessing any of its own. Watch closely, and you will see the transformation begin, not with panic, but with calculation. When a predator's shadow falls across the open sand, a place with no coral to vanish into, no crevice to offer shelter, the octopus does what no other animal in the sea is known to do. It studies the threat, and then it answers it, not with a single disguise, but with a repertoire. Arms that moments ago propelled it low across the seabed suddenly flatten, spreading wide and thin, their edges rippling in a slow, deliberate wave. The color drains to a mottled brown and cream. In an instant, an octopus in open water becomes a flatfish, indistinguishable in silhouette from the soul that shares its sand, a fish no predator finds worth the chase. But the soul is only the beginning of its cast of characters. Should a moray eel slide from its crevice, hungry and territorial, the Mimic tucks 6 of its 8 arms into a burrow and sends the remaining 2 out banded in black and white, undulating side to side with the unmistakable rhythm of a venomous sea snake. It is a performance of extraordinary precision, for the Mimic does not merely resemble the snake, it becomes it, in motion, in pattern, even in the illusion of 2 separate creatures emerging from 2 separate holes, when in truth there is only one animal, folded and hidden, offering the world exactly the fear it needs to survive. Scientists who have studied this behavior for decades still debate how many species this single creature can imitate. Lionfish, with their venomous trailing spines, sea anemones with arms curled into stinging false tentacles, even crabs, its arms drawn together into something resembling claws, scrattling in miniature deception across the open sand. What makes this all the more remarkable is that the Mimic Octopus does not merely wear a random disguise. Observers have noted something closer to judgment, a creature that seems to select its costume based on the specific predator before it. Faced with a damsfish that fears lionfish, it becomes a lionfish. Faced with a predator that avoids sea snakes, a sea snake it becomes. It is as though this soft-bodied animal, no larger than a human forearm, carries within it not just the skins of other creatures, but an understanding of what its enemies are afraid of. In an ocean where most survival stories are written in speed or armor or venom, the Mimic has written its own story in psychology. Its body, of course, makes such transformation possible in ways no land creature could ever manage. Beneath translucent skin lie millions of pigment-filled cells called chromatophores, each one a tiny sac that can expand or contract in a fraction of a second, flooding the surface with color and pattern like ink spreading in water. Beneath those lie other cells still, capable of reflecting and scattering light, adding shimmer and depth to the illusion. And beneath the skin entirely, muscles allow a creature with no bones at all to reshape itself utterly, to become flat or coiled or spiked or still. This is not costume, this is architecture rebuilt in real time, a body that treats its own shape as merely another suggestion. There is a darker truth folded into this beauty, one worth pausing on. The Mimic Octopus, for all its cleverness, possesses no venom of its own, no ink cloud thick enough to guarantee escape, no shell, no speed to outrun a determined hunter. It survives entirely on deception, on the gap between what a predator sees and what is actually there. Should that gap close, should the illusion falter, even for a moment, there is little left to protect it. Every performance is, in the truest sense, a matter of life and death, staged alone on an open stretch of sand, with no wings and no armor, only the borrowed fear of other animals to hide behind. And when even mimicry fails, when a hunter presses too close and recognition threatens to arrive a heartbeat too soon, the octopus falls back on an older trick entirely. A dark cloud bursts from its siphon, blooming through the water like spilled shadow, and in the confusion of ink and current, the true animal, small, soft, entirely itself, perhaps for the first time in the encounter, slips away into a crevice and disappears. The predator is left with nothing but drifting darkness and the fading memory of something that was never quite what it seemed.